Someone takes credit for your idea, and you just sit there fuming silently. A friend lands a cheap shot disguised as a joke, and you force a smile. Someone brazenly cuts you in line, and you do nothing. You tell yourself you're just being the bigger person, avoiding conflict. But let's be honest, what you're really doing is teaching people that you can be disrespected. You're showing them your boundaries are just suggestions, and that your comfort comes second to whatever they want. You feel that hot surge of frustration, that sense of being invisible, and you're left wondering, why me? But what if the most respected people aren't just naturally charismatic? What if they understand a darker, more strategic side of human nature? What if they've learned from the ruthless 500-year-old playbook of Niccolo Machiavelli, a man who knew that respect isn't given, it's taken? Let's get one thing straight. Machiavellianism as a personality trait is defined by manipulation, a lack of empathy, and a focus on self-interest, often at the expense of others. Psychologists consider it a dark triad trait for a reason. This video is not about becoming a manipulative person or a tyrant in your own life. That's a lonely, miserable path. Instead, this is about understanding the ruthless strategies that manipulators use so you can defend yourself and reclaim your power. We're going to adapt 5 key Machiavellian tactics, not to harm, but to build an unshakable fortress of self-respect. Forget being likable. Likability is cheap. You get it by making others comfortable, often by sacrificing yourself. Respect is the currency of authority, and you earn it by making it clear that you value yourself first. If you're ready to stop being a background character in your own story, stick around. We're about to cover some hard truths, but they are essential for anyone who's tired of being underestimated. Principle 1. Master emotional detachment. The first and most critical lesson you can learn from Machiavellian thinking is emotional detachment. When someone disrespects you, what's your first reaction? A flash of anger? A sting of humiliation? That emotional spike is exactly what they want. It's a signal that they've gotten to you, that their words have power over your feelings. The moment you lose your cool, you lose. A Machiavellian strategist sees disrespect not as a personal attack, but as a move on a chessboard. Your first step? Do nothing. Stay calm. Hold their gaze. Let the silence hang in the air for a beat too long. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about regulating your response. It sends a message that's far more powerful than any angry comeback. You can't control me. Think about it. An emotional person is predictable. Their strings are out there for anyone to pull. By detaching, you cut those strings. The person who disrespected you is left confused. They expected you to lash out or shrink, and you did neither. That calm, unnerving composure forces them off their game. In that instant, you've seized control of the interaction without saying a single word. Your silence becomes a weapon. Before you plan your move, you must first master your non-response. Principle 2. Assess the battlefield. Once you're calm, it's time for Principle 2. Assess the battlefield with cold pragmatism. A strategic thinker never just reacts. Every move is calculated. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself a few key questions. First, what was the motive? Was that an intentional power play from a rival, or just a clumsy comment from an oblivious coworker? Declaring war over a genuine mistake is a waste of your energy. Second, what are the power dynamics? The way you handle a boss who belittles you is completely different from how you handle a subordinate who's testing your authority. A public showdown with your boss could be a career ender, while a firm private conversation might solve the problem. With the subordinate, a quick public assertion of your role might be exactly what's needed. And third, what's your end game? Do you want an apology? Do you just want the behavior to stop? Do you want to reestablish your authority in front of the group? A short-term win that poisons the well for you long-term isn't a win at all. Sometimes the most powerful move is to completely ignore the slight, signaling the person is so irrelevant, their opinion doesn't register. Other times, a precise, surgical strike is necessary. Don't just react. Think 3 moves ahead. Principle 3. Choose your weapon. Tactical flexibility, so you've stayed calm and assessed the situation. Now what? That brings us to Principle 3. Tactical flexibility. Machiavelli knew that a ruler with only one trick is a ruler destined to fail. The same goes for you. You need a diverse arsenal. Sometimes you need the hammer. Direct, unmistakable confrontation. This is for clear, obvious boundary violations. When someone shamelessly takes credit for your work, you might say, calmly and publicly, "I'm glad my analysis on that final slide was so compelling for you." It's not an emotional outburst. It's a calm, factual correction that reclaims your credit and exposes the theft. Other times you need the scalpel. Subtle, indirect pressure. Maybe a friend has a habit of making you the butt of their jokes. A big confrontation might just give them more drama to play with. Instead, use calculated silence. The next time they land a joke at your expense, just don't laugh. Look at them with a neutral, slightly confused expression. Let the joke die in the air. The social awkwardness that follows does the heavy lifting for you. And sometimes, the best weapon is the shield, strategic withdrawal. This isn't weakness, it's a power move. When you realize someone thrives on drama and conflict, the strongest thing you can do is deny them your energy. Give them short, boring answers. Get busy. Slowly fade out of their orbit. You're communicating that access to you is a privilege, and that privilege has been revoked. Principle 4. Know your opponent's mind. The fourth principle involves one of the most potent tools in the Machiavellian playbook, cognitive empathy. Let's be very clear about what this is. It is not emotional empathy, feeling what another person feels. That's a liability here. Cognitive empathy is the ability to understand what makes someone tick, their motivations, fears, and insecurities, without feeling those things yourself. It's a strategic tool for understanding why they're acting this way. Instead of thinking, how could they do that to me? You ask, what is this person trying to achieve? Are they insecure, trying to look big by making you look small? A response that subtly highlights their insecurity can be devastatingly effective. Are they arrogant and genuinely believe they're superior? A well-placed question that challenges their expertise can recalibrate their view of you. Or are they just thoughtless? If so, a simple, direct statement about your boundary may be all you need. By understanding their internal operating system, you can tailor a response that targets their specific weakness. You're no longer just reacting to their move. You're seeing the insecure person behind the curtain and disarming their entire strategy. Before we hit the final, most legendary principle, let's take a second to fortify your own mind. Real authority starts from within. Go to the comments and write this down. My respect is not negotiable. This isn't just for the algorithm. It's a declaration to yourself. It's the first step to truly owning this mindset. Principle 5. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. And now for the most infamous Machiavellian idea of all. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. This is almost always misunderstood. Machiavelli was talking to a prince about political control in the 16th century Italy, not giving dating advice. He argued a leader who relies on love can be abandoned, but a leader who is feared commands obedience through the threat of punishment. In our world, fear isn't about making people tremble. That makes you a tyrant, and tyrants always get overthrown. For our purposes, being feared means people fear the consequences of disrespecting you. It means you've shown that crossing your boundaries comes with a cost. That cost might be losing your cooperation on a project. It might be the loss of your friendship, or it might be you calmly and firmly correcting them in a way that makes them look foolish. If you're only liked, people will feel comfortable walking all over you because there's no downside. You're the nice one who always lets it slide. That's a recipe for chronic disrespect. Establishing fear is simply about establishing consequences. When a colleague keeps interrupting you, and you've already asked them privately to stop, it's time to enforce a consequence. The next time it happens in a meeting, stop talking, turn to them, and say with a spine of steel, I'm going to finish my point. The momentary awkwardness in the room is the fear Machiavelli was talking about. It's the fear of social sanction, the fear of being exposed as rude. You're teaching everyone in the room that interrupting you has a price. So there you have it. 5 Machiavellian-inspired tactics to command respect. 1. Master your emotions, because an emotional person is a predictable one. 2. Assess the battlefield, so your response is strategic, not impulsive. 3. Be flexible and know when to use the hammer, the scalpel, or the shield. 4. Understand your opponent's mind, not to feel for them, but to strategize. And 5. Make sure there are consequences for disrespect, not from a place of cruelty, but from a place of non-negotiable self-worth. Applying these will change how you move through the world. You'll no longer walk into rooms hoping to be liked. You'll walk in knowing your value. Disrespect won't be something that just happens to you anymore. It will be a move on the board that you observe and address with the calm precision of a grandmaster. You'll no longer be a pawn in other people's games. You will be a player,